All right. So, pretty much the same things I usually say or suggest that we have for practice, things to sit comfortably, and then also a block might be useful, but I don't think all of you would use a block for the golden seed. You may know that. If you don't remember, that's okay too. Got to move this out of the way. Um, so, and then once you gather everything that you'd like for practice, let's go ahead and take a moment with the breath. So, what I'd like to offer with this breath practice is we don't often do breaths. I like to do and establish breaths that we can practice and sustain throughout the whole class. But for today, I'm actually going to offer a breath practice that we really will just do it for the centering time and then let it go. So that specific breath is called bellows breath. And the idea is a bellow is kind of this thing, if you've ever had a fire, it's this accordion like object that it draws air in quickly and expels air, right? And so if you think of your breathing mechanisms as putting a continuous pressure in, right? So that I like to think of it almost like if you are blowing up a balloon, you have a certain amount of breath or energy in a way that you draw in to prepare for that. And then that pressure that you have to resist against when you're blowing up that object or that balloon, that's the kind of breath. But then also just remember, it's not just the mouth and the throat that do that action. We're trying to get some muscular engagement to the abdominals, so everything is online with the effort of the breath, and it might be a little bit noisier of the breath, right? This is one of those breaths you just pick for comfort as far as breathing in through the nose or the mouth. If you can breathe in and out through the nose, then do that. If it's easier to breathe in and out through the mouth, that's okay too. We're just trying to feel the rib muscles draw and pull that air in, the belly muscles expand and draw the breath in, and then you squeeze it all out with those muscles. So even though it is a stronger breath, a lot of times the stronger breaths are a little quicker. This one is slow and steady. Now, let's go ahead and let that breath fade or just return to a more regular breath practice for yourself. And this is sometimes where that beauty of bellows breath comes in. You might notice that as you return back to a regular breath, that you also have a lot more space to breathe into your lungs, into your belly, that we just created some space for the breath to take up as we breathe in and out. Now, let's go ahead and start to move towards our getting into some poses or some work with the body. So, if you need any other way to set up your practice, maybe setting an intention, just take that moment for yourself. And we'll actually start with cow and cat pose today. So, if you want to stay seated for that, you can stay seated for that. If you want to come to tabletop, you can come to tabletop. And then also, just if you need anything as far as comforts for tabletop, right, you can always pat up the knees or the wrists. and then starting to move through cow and cat pose, whether you're seated or on fours. Inhale to lift the heart. Exhale to curl and round. The thing about cow and cat pose is you can really take some time to get into some of the pockets of tension and tightness. You can move that around for yourself. You can shift forward and back. And then eventually, if your spine feels like it got some space and movement in there, let's start to make our way to the feet. So if you're coming from tabletop, you might simply tuck the toes under if they're not there, put a little bend to the elbow so your shoulders are nice and strong, and then start to elevate or lift those hips up high and back. It might feel good to pedal through your feet here, or maybe you enjoy the stretch that you get through downward facing dog. If it's not a favorite posture of yours, you might be heading towards our next space, which will be a forward fold, but you can always linger as well if you like that. And then when you are ready to come to the feet, walk the hands and feet together, forward fold. Slowly articulate and rise up to mountain pose or standing. So when we do the practices this month, it will be focusing a little bit on energy and how we create and shift energy and work with it. The golden seed I've always loved as a practice because it does um, move energy throughout our entire body and get all of the muscles and joints moving. How you begin the practice is you start to feel a field of energy. So one way to do that is you can clap the hands together and start to rub the hands really fast until you get some warmth between the two palms. And then after that, what you want to feel or notice is let the fingers or the palms get a little distance apart and notice if you can see them almost repel against each other. There's usually this little field right in between the two hands that you can kind of play with. And you can move your hands around. I personally like to sort of sculpt the energy into almost like a snowball that I'm creating. And so if that feels right for you, and if playing with energy is not something you do that often, right, just see if the doing the mechanics of it works for you. So now that you've got this little energy ball, we're going to give it a little bit of sunshine. Everybody needs a little light, right? So take that energy and move it up overhead, whether you have the arms straight up to the sky, a little bent, whether it's slightly in front of your head or not, that's okay. And then after it's gotten a little light, a little sunshine, right? Let's bring it back down to the heart. And then there's 3 ways where we can move this energy around. This first energy, I invite you to bring it into your body. So go ahead and press that ball of energy or chi into your heart or belly. When you think it's gotten in there, you can go ahead and release the hands. Now, the other thing about energy is sometimes it kind of sticks. So if you're feeling that in those wrists and hands, just go ahead and shake it out. Notice what you notice. Maybe you feel that energy swimming and swirling around your body. Now, whether you want to clap the hands again or whether you want to kind of scoop from the air and get another little bit of energy, let's go ahead and make another energy ball. And this time we're going to change the shape of the energy. So once you've got that ball formed, let's go ahead and lift it up and give it some sunlight. Now, just like this mandala behind me, we're going to create an energy ball that goes around our body. So if you bring the arms out and wide, just imagine you're casting a bubble of energy around you, and you can play in this space. Feel how that feels for the upper body, for your heart, for your cells. All right, and so now that we played in that bubble a little bit, let's go ahead and gather and collect it back up overhead. Bring that back down to heart center. And similar to just casting it around ourselves, like we're in a little protective bubble, you can almost create a layer, almost like wearing a snowsuit, if you will. When releasing the energy, you can simply splash it over your body and let it give yourself just a nice coat of energy. So we have those ways that we can bring energy. You can draw it in your body. You can surround your body with energy. And you'll get opportunities to ask yourself which one you want. There's one more way, but we'll do that the next time. So for some of the movements we're going to do, you'll want your feet about outer hip width apart. So if you're a little closer, I'd recommend going a little wider. And then one of the pieces or elements to the movements that we do is a little bit of balance. Rock towards the back of your heels, catch your balance, and then go ahead and point one set of toes out to the side and then parallel it back and point the other set of toes to the side and back. And see if you can do that with both feet. So rock to the back of the heels, point both toes out to the side, and then bring them parallel, and even try the other way, bring the toes in. Now, if this is not good for your knees or ankles, you can skip this pivoting on the ankles, right? But just wanted to get that into your body before we add on here. So once again, we're going to go ahead and collect and scoop up some energy. We're going to lift it up to the light. And now we're going to surround ourselves with it. This time, as you open up those arms, you can point the toes out and maybe even bend into the knees. So this is called push the walls away. This is one of my favorite moves of the golden seed. It starts to open up, or you start to feel the legs working, you feel the strength and energy just protecting around you, right? Now scoop up that bubble, parallel the feet, extend the legs. Now we're going to take that energy and we're going to let it grow into the earth. So you can push it all the way down, coming into a forward fold, letting that energy grow into the earth a bit. Just like most things, when it grows in the ground, it cultivates growth and density. So now you're going to go ahead and scoop that energy up from the earth, and it feels like it's a boulder in weight, right? So you're going to bend your knees, stick your seat out, and bring it up halfway. And now you're going to take that heavy energy and once again, return it to the light, reach up overhead. Draw that energy down to your heart center. And so the last way that we can move energy, right? We went within, we went around us, is you can send it into the world. So maybe you think of someone as you release it. Maybe you send it to others that are in the same household as you. Maybe you just send it to, the hurt of the world. So you've got places you can send it if you have enough energy for yourself. So I do like when we come into elephant's trunk swing, I like to have a block in front of me. This is where you can have that or you don't have to have that. But before we get into it on the floor, I like to do it standing without the hip flexion. So the next thing that we're going to add is called the elephant trunk swing. If you think of the grace of a swinging elephant trunk and you make your arm go that way, this is what we're going to do when we're in a forward fold. So as you sweep the right arm, swing it open, you're going to point the right toes out to the side, and then you're going to swing them back in. Same thing to the left. Again, this graceful trunk swings out, the left toes point out, unless you're not doing that, and then you sweep it back in. Okay, so we're going to add that in, and like I said, that's when we're in a forward fold. So feet outer hip width apart. Let's go ahead and gather some energy. Find that field of energy. Compact it, sculpt it, shape it for this moment. Reach it up to the sky once you got it. And then take a deep breath in and exhale. We'll push the walls away. So that's arms out, knees bent, toes point out. After that bubble, let's go ahead and scoop it back up, parallel the feet, reach it up to the sky. And now we're going to let it grow into the earth. So bring it all the way down into a forward fold. So this is where we add the elephant trunk swing. When you're in this fold, go ahead and swing your right arm out to the side, right toes point out to the side. Exhale, return. Sweep left arm, left toes out to the side. Exhale, return. One more time, let's go ahead and collect that energy from the earth. And it feels very dense, right? Because we also have that soil that helped it grow. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and push it all the way up to the sky. Take a deep breath in here. And exhale, bring that energy back down to heart center. Again, you can sculpt through that energy. Now you decide where it goes. Do you need it within? Do you need it around you? Do you need to send it somewhere? And release it when you're ready. Doesn't matter where it goes. There's no choice better than any other unless you had some intuition about where it needed to go. So we have one more element to the golden seed. And the mechanics of this is where you can play with the toes pointed in if you're doing that. So dipping bird, we come from parallel feet to toes in. They should have called it a pigeon. Well, pigeon toe, that's right. That is a bird. So that's probably where that comes from. But the idea is, I think of almost like if you've ever thought of how somebody does that, or I think of like the Olympians that do the ski slalom, right? So you're going to, we're going to be up in high mountain. You're going to turn the toes in and pitch forward at the hips, swing those arms back. Dipping bird. So again, giant ski slalom, and then release up. We always do dipping bird twice. So you do it one more time. Toes point towards each other, sweep those arms back, whoosh it back, and then parallel the feet and reach up. All right, so you can, once again, return back to mountain, and we'll put it all together. Adding in some energy, sculpting it, creating it. It doesn't have to stay the same size every day, right? It's like sometimes it just feels different. Now we're going to go ahead and reach it up to the light. And then we're going to cast a bubble around us, push the walls away. From push the walls away, let's go ahead and scoop that energy back up, parallel the feet, and plant it into the earth, forward fold. From this forward fold, swing open to the right, elephant trunk swing. Exhale, return. Inhale, sweep open to the left. Exhale, return. Go ahead and scoop that energy up from the earth, come halfway, and then push that energy all the way up to the sky. 2 times, dipping bird. Take an inhale here, exhale, whoosh back, toes point towards each other. Scoop that energy back up. We're going to cast it past our body one more time, dipping bird. Scoop it back up, bring it overhead. Bring that energy back down in front of our hearts. Take a moment to decide where you need it, and then bring it to where it needs to go, whether it's within, whether you cast it around, or you send it into the cosmos. Once you have that energy sent somewhere, you can release your arms down to the side. So I'd like to do this. We're going to go through 3 cycles of the dipping bird. Hopefully, if you're not warmed up now, right, because we're moving all this energy, hopefully by the end of 3 rounds, you'll be ready to go for anything else we do in the rest of practice. So one more time, let's go ahead and find that energy source. Wherever that is, whatever shape, whatever, if you got a color, texture that you feel that's happening in between the hands. Go ahead and let it in some light. So high mountain pose. Exhale, let's push the walls away. Go ahead and gather that energy up, reach up overhead, and then exhale, forward fold, plant it into the earth. Inhale, swing open to the right. Exhale, return. Inhale, swing open to the left. Exhale, return. Go ahead and scoop up halfway. Use that lift to go all the way up to the sky. Prepare for dipping bird with a deep inhale. And exhale, whoosh, dip back. Gather that energy back up above, high mountain. And exhale, dipping bird, whoosh it back. We always do that 1-2 times. Go ahead and scoop back up. Take one more breath in. Bring that back down to heart center. Decide where you're taking this energy that we cultivate and played with, and then send it where it needs to go. Then go ahead and collect up some more energy, bring it in between the hands. On your next inhale, reach it up to the sky. Exhale, push the walls away. Go ahead and scoop back up to the sky, reaching up high, and then exhale, forward fold. Plant that energy into the earth. With the grace of an elephant trunk swing, open up to the right. And exhale, return. Sweep open to the left. Exhale, return. Now we're going to go ahead and lift that boulder up. It was safekeeping in the ground, right? And then push it all the way up to the sky. 2 dipping birds. Inhale here. Exhale, whoosh it back. Gather it up, reach up high mountain. Exhale, dip it back. Inhale one more time, reach it up to the sky. Pull it down to your heart. Breathe into it once, deciding where you're sending it, and then let it go. Good. We got one more that we're going to do in this sequence. So once again, scoop up energy, bring it in between the hands, let it all swirl and mix together. On your next inhale, go ahead and push it up to the sky. Exhale, push the walls away. Go ahead and scoop it back up overhead. And exhale, forward fold. Plant that energy into the earth and swing open to the right. Exhale, return. Inhale, sweep open to the left. Exhale, return. Scooping up from the floor halfway. And then push it all the way up to the sky, taking a deep breath in. And exhale, dipping bird. Inhale, reach up, parallel the feet. Exhale, dipping bird. Scoop up one more time, reaching up to the sky. Bring that energy to heart center. Putting in any love, kindness, anything else you need in between the hands, sourcing that energy. Decide where you need it, and then send it on its way. Whether it's within, around, or out there. You could close your eyes here. Let's take 5 breaths in mountain pose. Notice what swirls, what moves around you. Notice if your body's hot or cold or warmed up or tense, right? Is there any place you can let go of tension? Belly should be soft, shoulders soft. All right, so if that block has been serving you, you might just keep it in front of you. Now you can take a few more breaths in mountain pose if you'd like. When you are ready to move on, we're going to set up for warrior 2 pose. Right? We should do some traditional yoga, not Taoist yoga. That's where the golden seed comes from. That's why it feels a little different than some other yoga practices. Most yoga is hatha inspired, or from, if you're ever curious, hatha, I always like nerding out on this stuff, so I'm sorry if it's too much information, but hatha means sun or light. So most yoga comes from an Indian tradition of going towards the light. Taoist tradition has that balance between, black and white, that yin yang symbol, you can think of it that way. So we play with energy a little different. So whether you bring hands to heart center, whether you scoop energy around and in between your hands, we're going to go ahead and shift over into the right foot and step it back into warrior 2. So once you get the legs into warrior 2, right, front knee bends, you can open up those arms in opposite direction. Relax the shoulders, strengthen through the legs, right? Squeeze through your glute muscles, your leg muscles, strong core. Let's go ahead and flip that right palm up to the sky, reach it up and back for goddess warrior. Legs stay the same. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, let's open through warrior 2 and come into extended side angle. You can bring it down the inside of the leg, or you can bring the forearm to the thigh. Strong legs push down into the earth. Strong core lifts you back up to warrior two. Again, gather either energy to your heart center, or you're going to press hands to heart center. Let's spin on that back heel, take it up to the top of the mat, mountain pose. Okay, from here, step the feet wide, collect an energy ball in front of your hands. And on an inhale, go ahead and lift that energy up to the light. Exhale, toes out, bend into the knees, push the walls away. Inhale, scoop the energy up to the sky, parallel the feet, and exhale, forward fold or plant the energy down into the earth. On an inhale, sweep open to the right, elephant trunk swing. Exhale, return. Inhale, swing open to the left. Exhale, return. Go ahead and scoop up that energy from the earth. Hold it halfway. Get your good body mechanics to lift something heavy and then push it all the way up to the sky. Take an inhale here and exhale, dipping bird. Whoosh. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, reach back up to the sky. Bring your energy back down to heart center. Take a breath in, decide where it's going, and then send it where it needs to go. Whether it's out in the air, into your heart, or around you. All right, from feet wide, step or hop those feet back to inner hip width apart. Again, you could use an energy ball here. You're going to go ahead and shift into your left foot more than your right. And we're going to step it back into warrior two, other side. Opening up those arms in opposite direction. Feeling the strength in the posture, letting the muscles work here. Strong legs, strong core. Let's go ahead and flip that left palm up to the sky. Reach it up and back. Let's come forward and through into extended side angle. Use core strength to rise back up, warrior two. Either collecting that energy right at the heart or press palms together. Let's go ahead and look forward, step forward, mountain pose. Step or hop those feet, outer hip width apart. Find an energy source near the heart, and on your next inhale, go ahead and reach it up to the sky. Exhale, push the walls away. Inhale, parallel the feet, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, swing open to the side. Exhale, return. Inhale, sweep open to the other side. Exhale. Go ahead and scoop up energy from the earth. Push it up to the sky. Take a deep breath in here and exhale, dipping bird. Inhale, reach it up to the sky. Exhale, dipping bird. Go ahead and scoop back up to the sky. Gather that energy down towards your heart. Feel into it. Send it where it needs to go. Splashing around you, within you, or around. All right, so feel free to get a drink of water for yourself if you need it. Feel free to move around on your mat a little bit. Got a little bit more standing work. Golden seed gets me really warm. It's just, I think, because of all the energy we're moving around, because it's not really necessarily physically tasking, but I think it's something to do with all the energy we're moving. So hopefully you're not feeling too warm, but we've got a couple more strong things, and then we're going to start to slow things down a little bit. And so what I want to offer is sort of our last standing posture work is triangle pose. We'll do just one more round of the golden seed as well. So when you're ready, starting at the top of your mat, you can press palms together. You can form an energy ball, whatever's working for you. We're going to set up into warrior two to start. So go ahead and find that base for you. This is kind of a good way to set up for triangle pose. Just feel all the principles of strength that you need in your warrior two. Strengthen through your legs, feel nice and solid through the core. Open up those arms nice and solid. Flip that right palm up to the sky and reach up and back for goddess warrior. So I know we don't do this posture that often, but we're going to stay here with the arms and simply extend the front leg, coming into reverse triangle pose. That's what this is called. So now we have the legs set up for triangle pose. We're going to open through warrior two arms, tilt the upper body and come forward into triangle pose. So triangle pose, if you've been using that block and you want to use it here, you might bring your hand down to the block. You might press your hand to the inside of the leg. Anywhere along the leg is fine. Inner thigh, inner calf, near the ankle, whatever gives you space, whatever lets you feel the strength, the fortitude that a triangle has when it is structured nice and strong. So keep working the leg muscles, keep the belly nice and strong. Let's use core strength to go ahead and rise back up with the arms. You might put a little bend to that front knee. You can, again, collect energy or bring hands to heart center. And let's go ahead and spin back up to the top of the mat. So this time we're going to just hold here. So if you've got that little energy ball and you want to send it somewhere, just a kind wish or whatever you need, go ahead and release it. And then we'll set up for that other side. Let's go ahead and energy ball our hands at heart center. Left foot stays forward. Let's go ahead and step it back to warrior two, second side. Once again, taking the time to, energy is one thing in our body and it is real. I think that that's one of the beautiful practices about this is like, yeah, there is something that you can't point to in an anatomy book or anything like that, but we still do have the muscles here. So feel into your muscles, feel the strength. Go ahead and flip the front palm up to the sky, coming into goddess warrior. Go ahead and extend the front leg. Reach long back into reverse triangle pose. And then that's going to prep us up for triangle pose. You can open through warrior two arms, come forward. Maybe bring a hand to a block with the inside of the leg. You can always bend the knees if you need a little space for the legs, but keep them nice and strong. Keep the body nice and strong. Use that strength to lift back up, warrior two arms, whether you're pressing hands to heart center or collecting that energy. Let's go ahead and look towards the top of the mat and find our way back up there. One more golden seed. Step those feet wide. We're going to take a couple breaths for each round here. So it might feel like we're slowing it down. Just know that we're, in a sense we are, but we're also paying attention. So find your energy source. And from here, go ahead and reach up to the sky. So paying attention means you're going to feel your earth, your feet root into that earth. You're going to feel the extension of reaching that energy up to the sky. Taking some nice, solid, smooth breath here. Now we're going to hold into pushing the walls away. So take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, arms pivot out to the side, toes point out to the side, push the walls away. Now I find just kind of a little bit movement in the hips feels nice when we hold here. You can of course stay nice and steady if you prefer, that is okay. So even though we're holding a little bit longer, notice what holding a little bit longer does here. Kind of builds heat, right? But it's still strong practice. There's that little bit of yin, a little bit of yang going on. All right, from here on your next inhale, let's go ahead and return to arms up overhead, parallel the feet. Now we're going to come into a forward fold and stay there for a few breaths. So anchoring all the way down, tossing that energy into the floor, letting it cultivate and grow. At the same time, you're going to let your body relax and soften into this forward fold. Feel all the benefits of the posture. Do you feel this in your release in your low back? You feel like it gives your body a reset? Does it feel like something else when you forward fold? All right, so swing the elephant's trunk. We're only going to do 2 breaths on these. So you're going to open up to the side, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and then exhale, return. Open up to the left side, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and exhale, return. Good, go ahead and scoop up from the earth halfway. So you can bend the knees here. Imagine that you're holding a 50-pound kettlebell or something like that. I don't know how heavy those things are. They look heavy, some of the big ones. Now you're going to go ahead and push that all the way up to the sky. Dipping bird, we're going to do at pace. We're not going to hold into that at all. So 2 times dipping bird. Take an inhale here. Exhale, whoosh it back. Inhale, reach it back up. And exhale, whoosh it back. Inhale, collect and reach back up. This is our last sort of energy ball. If you want it, I'll give you one more opportunity for chi or energy at the end, but this is kind of our last energy that we built from the golden seed. You've cultivated it, let it grow, brought your own piece of you into it. You're going to take that, all of that good that you've created in here, and send it where it needs to go, whether it's out into the universe, whether it's around you. We all need to take care of ourselves. So it's not selfish to boundary yourself or draw it in. Decide where it's going to go and send it there. You're still feeling any energy in the hands. Once you let it go, shake them out. All right, so we're going to make our way down onto the mat. I'm going to cue through downward facing dog, but always know you can make a different pathway there if that makes more sense. And we are headed towards a seated posture. So if you're going down a different way, it might just be good information to know. So if you're joining me on the flow, inhale, reach those arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Go ahead and bend the knees enough to get the hands down to the mat. You can linger in downward facing dog. Our path to a seated position is going to take about 10 breaths or more. You may choose to stay in downward facing dog. You might choose to gently lower the knees, take a child's pose, or move through cow-cat pose. And then, as I said, take all the time that you need, but we are going to meet in a seat. So seated position does not have to be right on the floor. You can add cushion or support underneath your hips. You could have a leg straight. Really doesn't matter. Just find where the lower body feels supported and comfortable. And then here's where we're going to incorporate a little bit of eye yoga. So eye yoga is similar to how we use the body to not only move our muscles and tissues, but also to move energy, right? As we've been doing in this practice, our eyes also have that energy in that muscle tissue. So we're going to work a little bit with the eyes. So here, just sitting forward and checking in if you're comfortable, sit nice and tall in the spine and slowly start to close the eyes. So you're going to take a little bit longer than like a blink, but you'll start to gently close the eye, open the eye. You can now blink the eyes a couple times, right? That is muscle movement. And now we're going to move the eyes around. So we're going to start out setting up into a twist first. So lengthen up through the spine so you feel nice and tall, maybe shoulders back. Take an inhale here and exhale. Let's twist open to the right. So your left hand can come across the right thigh, right hand can come to the floor if the floor is far off, a block. So we're going to have that spinal twist, but now eye exercises can be done with the eyes open or closed. Your eyeballs, your muscles still move, whether you see it or not. All the puns we can do with eye yoga, it's kind of fun. And so for this practice, if you think about when you watch movies, the camera usually moves very smoothly. It either moves up and down nice and smoothly or side to side nice and smoothly. And this is what we want for our eyeballs. So looking directly forward without moving your head or neck, slowly start to tilt the eyes up towards the sky without moving your head, your chin, your shoulders. Notice if your eyes kind of jump up to the sky or if you can smoothly tilt them up. And that can take a little bit of time. If you get sort of the little jumps, simply return back to where it skipped and then continue to move up. Usually you can get the ceiling in your vision, just depends on how tall your ceilings are, I suppose, and your range. Now, once you get your eyes all the way up to the sky, now we're going to do that same smooth tilt downward. So keeping the head and neck and shoulders where it is, slowly start to send your gaze down. Again, did your eyes pop to the downward glance? Can you refine it so that it takes a little bit of time for those eyes to move? And then once your eyes get all the way down to the floor, smoothly start to return them back to center. And then gently blink the eyes, almost like a cleansing palette once you get back to that centered place. Let's come out of the twist. So take an inhale here and exhale, unwind. In between, again, we'll just kind of give the eyes a break. So if your eyes were closed, kind of keep them open and sharp focus on something. If your eyes were open when you did the pan and tilt, or the tilt, we're doing a pan next. Go ahead and close the eyes just to give them a little reset or rest. So we're going to do the opposite. Now let's go ahead and lengthen up through the spine. Set up for the twist to the other side. So you can take that other hand across, opposite thigh. And first of all, start with the gaze forward. Just like I said, with tilting up and down. Now we're going to pan smoothly left to right. So keeping the head and neck and shoulders where they are in space. Start to go over towards the right side. Take your time getting there. Notice if there's jumps. Notice if it is pretty fluid and smooth. Most of us, it'll take a little bit of time to do this at pace because we get really efficient, right? To just kind of jump the eyes where they need to go. And then smoothly track them back. You'll go through center and all the way over to the left. And again, just noticing if the eyes move at a different pace. Gently bring your eyes back to center when you're done. Blink the eyes just to give them a little break. And then take one more breath in the spinal twist. Exhale, come back to center. And we'll complete that eye yoga practice with a circle. So you can, again, do this with the eyes open or closed, but let's pick a starting point of head and neck and shoulders stay the same, but look up to the sky. Now begin to go to the upper right diagonal. Move it over to the right side. Lower right side. It's okay if your eyes are going slower or faster than me, just do a circle. Lower or bottom. Over to the lower left diagonal. To the left side. To the upper left. And all the way back up to the top. Now we're going to switch that direction. So we're going to go left. Clockwise and counterclockwise. Just at your own pace. I have some people that really do not like this and that causes a lot of strain. But if you think of your eyes just like all the other muscles in our body, they need exercise too. So just like say a bicep curl, right? You want to build muscle, you have to add weight and practice. Same with the eyes, you have to practice little eye drills. All right, if you've made your way back up to the top, go ahead and again, just blink the eyes a couple times. You could even put the heels of the hands, close the eyes, and gently put the heels of your palms against your eyes just to give them a break. Right? Maybe even slight small circles, so a little eye massage, if you will. You can take a little bit more time with that if you need. But if you're ready to start to close your practice, just have any props that you'd like that you know you want for Shavasana, but we can make our way onto the back. So I'd like to offer, as far as just a final couple postures, starting out with a reclined pigeon pose or figure four. So we've kind of traveled a long journey in this practice, right? We did some new things or things we haven't done for a while. So just take a moment to let your body settle onto your back, whether you have a support underneath your head and neck or not. And then from knees bent, feet planted, let's go ahead and cross right ankle over left thigh. The intention of this posture is to stretch into the glute muscles. So if you're not feeling much into those glutes, you might bring that thigh in towards the belly. And you don't have to, it's just kind of figuring out where you feel a stretch today. All right, setting up for the other side, you can anchor that foot down, press other ankle over other thigh. And then starting to release that side, unless you want a little more time. Once you release the legs, you might windshield wiper those knees side to side. Now we did do a spinal twist earlier in practice. If that's how you feel you like to close, you could of course do a rotation through the spine side to side. I'm going to actually cue through a gentle bridge pose. So you can do whatever you'd like as far as last posture, but you can join me too with bridge. So the thing with bridge is you do want to keep your gaze up towards the sky. You want to have your knees bent and feet planted. I like to go ahead and grip the edges of my mat, but you could also press your palms into the floor. And then when you're ready, you're going to take a deep breath in. Again, remember to keep the gaze upward. Don't turn the head, but lift the hips. Now, it doesn't have to be very far off the ground, right? Your hips don't have to go very high. Feel the front of the body open up. When you're ready to release the posture, simply roll the spine back down, the hips come back down onto the floor. Once those hips are down to the floor, then you can once again move your head and neck and shoulders around and even windshield wiper those knees. And then if there's anything else you need before Shavasana, feel free to take that posture. When you get into Shavasana, you want to feel that rest of and comfort in your joints and your body. So add props underneath if you need to. Something like a bolster underneath the knees could be really nice for the back. You could have a little extra comfort underneath the head and neck as well. Arms can be at your side, but also if you know that laying on your side or belly would be more comfortable, you can of course do that. Final Shavasana. Know that you can stay at rest and be in Shavasana for as long as you need. Take your time. Be kind and gentle to yourself. If you're at a space where you'd like to bring in some movement back into your body, you might create some movements like wiggling fingers and toes, but take your time. There is no hurry. Do so at your pace. At some point, it might feel good to bend elbows and knees, or possibly even stretch out through the limbs. But again, this is self-guided. I invite you to take it at your pace. If there's any way in which you'd like to close your own practice, maybe you take some time at your side and simply offer, whether it's gratitude or something to lead into your day with. Maybe there's some intention that you come to yoga. Make sure you set that or give yourself that time to revisit that connection. I like to close with gratitude and simply say, thank you, body. Now, if you're in a space to come to a closing practice, you might find your way up towards a seated position. I'll invite one more time that we add in a collection of energy or a chi ball. But again, no rush to get up to a seat, just be where you need to be. And We're going to ohm into this chi ball or this energy. So if you want to create sound or you want to listen, that's how you can do the ohm. Just know that we're infusing it with that vibration of the energy and of the universe. So we'll exhale, inhale, and then ohm, sending it into our energy. Whenever you're ready, exhale out all the air in your body. Take a deep breath in. Oh. Go ahead and take that energy, bring it into your heart. The humanity in me, the love, the peace, the kindness, and the joy honors and sees that humanity, that kindness, that loving, peace, and joyful heart that you have. Thank you for seeing me. I see you. Namaste. I will stay on if you need anything from me. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. I will go ahead and stop the recording. So